Hey everybody. So, a few months ago, I had to do a project for history where I had to make my own heritage minute. I had to think for a long time about who I was going to choose, and it came to me, why don't I do Sergeant John Faught, the local hero from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, my hometown. So, I needed something to make this project stand out, and I did some research and found out that Faught's mother still lived inside of the city. Her name's Donna Crosson. So, I decided to do an interview with her. So what you're about to listen to is about a 12-minute plus interview with Donna Crosson, the mother of Sergeant John Faught. Could you please tell me about him? What kind of person was he?
Johnny, when he was in school, was more or less a little rebel, okay? But somehow he muddled his way through school and he came out and he became a Canadian hero the hard way. But in school, if you're not the best, it's okay. You might turn out okay.
I guess you have a lot of memories, but are there any specific ones of John that really stick out, maybe to help people better understand what type of guy he was, maybe as an adult or teenager?
Well, especially, as a teenager, he was very kind. He was kind to everyone. He had special spot in his heart for the elderly and for animals. And people sometimes didn't care too much about, but those two always held a special spot.
And could you maybe tell me, what was it that made him want to enlist in the Canadian Forces when he was older? Did he always want to be a soldier?
Well, I have a picture of him when he was 2. He's walking around the beach at Batchewana, and in one hand he had a beer bottle, and in his head he used to have one of those little army outfits, the helmets, as a child. So he was just like any other kid. A lot of kids wanted to be in the army at that time. Not so much now, but I wish they would. But he had something in him, and he had a hard time finding a job because he was always the last one on the totem pole and would get laid off, or the business would close down. So he finally decided at age 25, after taking three times to get in the service because he was a little overweight. He tried 3 times and he got in. He was stationed out of Winnipeg originally. He was up in Shiloh for a very short time, and then he went to Edmonton, where he was with the 1st Battalion. Okay, when he was in for 20 years, just about had his 20th, and had re-enlisted for 9 more years.
So during those 20 years, he was deployed to Afghanistan 3 times. Did he tell you anything about these deployments? If so, what was it?
Well, he didn't talk too much about his deployments to Afghanistan, but this was his actually 7th tour. He was in Bosnia and Croatia. Okay, and he spoke more about that because it was very traumatic for him, because he was there right after the war and there was a lot of death and destruction. But actually, he didn't talk too much actually about what happened over there, just that it was very sandy, and it was not a fun place to be.
So, do you remember the final conversation that you had with him?
Well, on December 26, 2009, we always gathered as a family together at a niece's house, and he always joined us because he came home every year at Christmas and for his holidays. And he called us, and because he could call us every 3 weeks, so that was his day to talk to us. And it just seemed like another tour, even though it was a lot more dangerous. But before he left on this tour in October, I think it was October, 1st of November 2009, at the airport, I'll tell you a little story that I didn't realize that everybody went to meet their loved ones when they came back from a tour. But it was all the way out to Winnipeg or all the way out to Edmonton. And it would have meant a flight out there and that. And he never wanted me to go. And I said, John, on this third tour, I said, can I go out and greet you when you come home this time? And he said, Mom, yes, you can come and greet me this time. And actually, that's what happened. But the other tours, he never wanted me to greet him. But this time he said I could. And so that gave me a funny feeling because he never did. And then when he went to Toronto on his way to Edmonton before he deployed, in Toronto, he met with his sister and his niece and his two friends from there, and they went out for lunch, and he insisted that they came. He said, whatever you're doing, drop what you're doing and come out for lunch with me. I'm going. And so they did. And they were so happy that they did, because that was our actual last physical visit with him. If I tear up a little bit, I'm so sorry.
John was killed over 15 years ago. Most teenagers my age don't know what happened to him. Would you be comfortable telling us what happened to him and how you found out he had been killed?
Well, he was leading his troops on a ground search in the area. And sergeants are supposed to lead from behind, but he always insisted on leading from the front. And so he noticed something didn't look quite right, so he walked in front of them and told them to wait. And he walked in front of them, and he stepped on an IED. And he actually, from what I hear, he heard the click of it. So he knew exactly what was going to happen. So, but that was his life. He was a career soldier. And if it would have happened to one of his other boys, because they were around 19 at the time, and he was like a father figure because he was 44, and he wouldn't have, I don't know what he would have done if it was one of the other boys. To tell you the truth, he was he just loved his guys.
He would have felt like it was his fault.
That's right. He always insisted on going from the front, and that day particular, I know he would be very happy. He was the one that was hurt, killed.
Someone's life.
Yeah, that's right. And he always told the mothers, and he shouldn't have, that the boys would come back, but they did. And unfortunately, none of them are in the army now. They figured if crusty old Sergeant Faught could get it, that they better get out of there, and they always felt safe with him.
So maybe it's more than with that.
Right. And he was always called John Wayne. It's because I like the cowboy star John Wayne, but his dad was named Wayne and his grandfather was named John, so that's how he legitimately got it.
That's amazing. Great.
So the whole country mourned his passing. Crowds lined down the road as his body was driven down the Highway of Heroes. Did that give you some comfort?
It gave me so much comfort. The feelings were so mixed. It was such grief. I couldn't hardly take it, but I was just overwhelmed with the support from the Sioux, the support from Toronto. The Highway of Heroes with the 50 bridge is filled with people. Police all around. It was wonderful, wonderful.
So, a little bit more towards the present here. The main football field here at Superior Heights, where we are now, is named in honor of your son, the Sergeant John Faught Fieldhouse. It is a place in our community for his name and legacy to live on. How did that come about, and why was it so important that his name be attached to this field?
One of his good friends, her name is Melanie. Melanie Tyler was her single name. And she started this, wanting his name on the field, so we started approaching them. And all the teachers remembered him. Mario Turco at the time, he was heading in Bawading, I believe, and if there was 6 kids went through a door, kicking the door to open it, Johnny would be the one to get caught. So he always was well known. And, it was just one of those things, but they all liked him. Like, he never caused trouble, just did those silly things that all kids do. And anyways, Melanie started it up. They formed a committee, and it was Superior Heights, and at the time it was Seema Fazina, who actually got this committee, and there was so many more that were involved in this committee. I'm forgetting a lot of names. And we started to collect funds. On the front of the field house, there's a list of the sponsors and how much they had donated. It was actually the community that kicked in the money for this field house, and the kids now enjoy it. So we're happy.
It's a great way for his legacy to live on.
Yeah. And we have a memorial skate we had it for 10 years, and now we just finished our anniversary skate for the memorial skate. I also give a small bursary to kids graduating from Superior Heights and Terrantoris. Terrantoris was the other school that he went to.
So, final question here. As the years pass along, what do you hope young people will know about your son and the sacrifice that he made? What is your message to them?
Well, my message to them is love Canada as he did, and try to do the most for your community. And Johnny felt that he should actually protect the people in Canada. And he always, like I say, he always had that feeling of protection. He didn't want us to have to fight any wars over here. So I just, if all the students actually, some of them should think about the Army, and they pay for anything you want to be. You can be a plumber, you can be anything when you join the Army. And I'm a big advocate for that, joining the Army. And you have another family when you get in there, and you get your education, and you get a lot of useful tools for the rest of your life.
Sorry to ask one more. I know we said it was over, but what do you think Sergeant Faught would say if he came here and saw what they've done to this facility here, one that's named after him?
Yeah, he would be so pleased. He would just say, "Mom, I can't believe this."
Like on game day, it's literally like I see hundreds just walking past these signs every day.
Yeah, and they do look at them, okay? They understand. And that's why I always have to tell people that he wasn't an angel when he went to school. I must tell you that. He just became an angel doing good for Canada. So I hope more young men will follow in his steps as far as protecting this country.
Is there anything else I didn't ask you that you would like to get across to all the listeners here?
Well, he had a deep love for family. He was very family oriented. He came here for his 20 years in the Army. He spent every vacation here, every Christmas here. I think he missed maybe one Christmas when he was actually two. The one in 2009 and one other one when he was in Bosnia. But he just loved this city, and he loved this country, and most of all, he loved his family.